Hey, Greg, we're back again and linking into sales, and I want to talk about people getting jobs.
Oh,
How about you?
I like talking about people getting jobs. It makes me feel good and warm and fuzzy inside. It's almost like Olaf giving me a warm hug.
And you have just enough kids. I want you to stay employed because I don't have room in my house for you.
And I know this.
But I love your kids, though. They're good people. So anyway, this came up because I've had a wonderful talk with the several parents that are really caring parents, and and they wanted to make sure they did a great job in protecting their kids from not putting inappropriate content out on Facebook and other areas, so that when they went to school or wanted a job, it wouldn't hurt them. But there was something missing, I noticed, in that they didn't realize the absence of intentional quality content with their person going to college, and their absence of a full, rich LinkedIn profile, and the absence sometimes of work experience was going to, in my view, hurt them. So let's start with that conversation first, hear
Yeah.
your views, then I'll share more of mine.
Okay. Well, the one thing that most parents of teenagers should be aware of is that we have LinkedIn is available to those who are 14 and older. And the reason why I think they chose that particular age is because it's about the age where kids start entering high school around that time frame. So, and chances are they might be working or they might have volunteer experience or something along those lines, and they may be doing that. And to start at 14, using LinkedIn to start, getting career-minded, it's at that age, it's a really, really good, a good thing because you're now opening it up for your kids to actually have options of, hey, have you developed the skills enough to start your own business? Have you decided that you wanted to go to college? Are you deciding that you maybe, instead want to, go join Peace Corps or join the military or something along those lines? You put those sort of, things, those seeds, you start planting those seeds inside your kids' heads. Amazing things will start to happen. I think you give them a great opportunity to get started at that point.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing was is I really started to notice that if you grew up from my generation or a little bit earlier, where you'd be older, you might be overly protective and not thinking about the importance of getting that content out there, getting that LinkedIn profile set up. You might have an established job where you're closer to retirement, and you don't realize when your child gets out of college, they better be networked with work experience and referrals and generating content, because they're in a more competitive world than we might have grown up in. So that's, to me, the big message I want to say is get them out. And I love you brought up the LinkedIn. LinkedIn allows people to join at a younger age for a reason they're seeing, not because they want high school kids in there, but they're more. And I see teaching over at State at the McKinnon Center a lot of more youth programs and early college programs and other things. And I'm all for education, but if it's not grounded in reality, I'm not sure I'd want to hire them either. You know, and to me, my greatest asset was having a 4-year degree and a co-op program at IBM, which I actually got through a 2-year degree afterwards to make me more sellable in the market. So anything you want to add to that, then we'll go on to some others in selling yourself topic.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you think about looking at education, our our schools actually preparing our young students for the workplace, and in most cases the answer is no, because their curriculums are so far behind, and that's something you have to consider, when even before you decide on what school to go to. But that also goes back to speaking about being prepared for entering college, so that way after college you are able to find yourself a job very quickly. Most kids are going in with the assumption that, oh, I have a 4-year degree, I'm going to get a job when I get out, and that we obviously saw that is not the reality. And to have those expectations is very idealistic, and should be seriously reconsidered. People, employers, they take a risk when they hire somebody. It's the last thing that they want to do. Getting a job is not a charity. So, I mean, those sort of things just kind of you have to realize this. You have to work for that. You have to bring value to the company.
Yeah, and the idea, sorry, the idea here is the old school of we'll bring you in and training is going away quickly. You're pretty much, to me, a free agent. And what do you have to offer as a product going to the employer? Well, if you've got education, and if the educational system, sometimes education, and again, I don't want to sound negative, I'm for education, but sometimes you've got tenured people that may not be staying on the cutting edge of technology. And if you're a few years, if you've got a 4-year gap and you're not keeping up, that's like a 10 or 12-year gap at the rate of change today. So, if you're in the school and you're getting work experience, and it might be summer and others or co-op programs, now to me, and you're networking, you're actually building that LinkedIn profile, you're connecting to some other people, you're earning some recommendations to me, or writing some blogs and adding it on LinkedIn. Now, if I were an employer looking at you, I would go, wait a second, this person's got some sheepskin, but they've got some real world experience. I need that. Let's bring him in.
Mm-hmm. I certainly agree. Absolutely. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against education also, but it's a we are definitely in a situation where going to school is not enough.
Right.
So, and
yeah.
that,
So
that's the reality of it.
The next thing I want to talk about is just selling yourself. I keep meeting people who are living like their job will be there forever, and they haven't built a digital footprint. They don't have content out there to pre-screen. They don't even have comments on their LinkedIn profile back in their education. One of my jokes, Greg, I'll read their college education, go, what did you just do drugs in college and you're ashamed of it? You have nothing to say about 4 years and $100,000 invested in a school, about what you learned and accomplished there, and other information. So that's, to me, gets into it. And then the idea of social selling of yourself, bringing that on. So add a few comments to that as the professional level.
Yeah, well, I mean, you say social selling, and we just gotta, there's a lot of folks that are kind of throwing social selling around as a catchphrase, but I think that when we look at the the principles of social selling, there's no difference between social selling, using social selling in a sales engagement, and then using social selling for a job opportunity engagement. So it still is used for engagement, and actually. There's social selling is not about closing a deal. It's about opening relationships and creating new things. So we want to, when you look at social selling for the job search, or for social selling yourself for a job, you have to think about finding exactly who you need to contact at a particular organization, or even can you connect with a mentor? Can you get advice from other people that have been in their similar situation? Knowing how to kind of use social selling to strategize and find the folks that you need to you connect with, so that way you can move into that next opportunity. The tools are there. You just need to take and connect everything together and go for it.
Yeah, and the idea is you're the product. What's the ROI you provide? What evidence do you have that is a trustworthy ROI? What do other people have to say about you? Hence, reviews online. What type of content have you produced to show your field online to check? How do you play in the world outside as an individual? Do you give reviews of businesses you go to? Is there content out there to find at an individual level? Or are you somebody that just comes out when you have something to complain? I'm just trying to give a few of these of really building that intentional transparent content out there for your own career. Because if people wait until they think they're secure and retire, and then they're gonna have a next career, and they have no digital footprint, good luck, man. Put another 10 years on that to start developing it. My view. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the amount of time it takes in order to develop a digital footprint it does take a while, unless you're extremely aggressive at it and you really want to focus on it. And when we say digital footprint, I think what we're actually speaking to is your digital brand,
Yep.
and what you leave behind as you move across the web and make connections. So it's it is something that requires constant maintenance, especially in today's economy. You should be spending a portion of your day on social, so that way you are continuing to maintain your education through the content that people are actually sharing, because that is real life stuff. There's discovering new people to connect with, because you believe that they will bring value to you and your network, and you can also provide value back to them. I mean, that's another key thing about social selling, is that you have to provide the value is two ways. So using that to help you with a job search is definitely important.
So I want to kind of wrap up the key things that important to me to get out there. One, at the parent level, make sure your kid is going to get some work experience in the real world. Make sure that they're starting to build their network. If you can get them on LinkedIn, have a discussion with them, and start being supervised. This is really important. Make sure that you want to find out, is the school might have a great reputation in a large branded thing, but what opportunities does school offer to support them in getting real-world work experience in the educational process? Because you got 4 years out of the real world. Now we've got a bigger lag there. That's some of them. And then at the career level, how are you creating intentional content, and how are you selling yourself? How are you engaging? Are you writing reviews, as simple as writing reviews of a local restaurant that you go to have some content out there as well? So those are just a few of the review. Anything else, Greg, you see in recapping yourself? And then that's what I had to say about selling yourself today and social selling.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty good. Just keep in mind that I would definitely, for those parents out there that are listening, I'm for those that don't know, I'm a father of five kids, and this is just one of the things that I think about in the future, something I'm very cognizant of, as my kids within the next 3 to 4 years may actually enter the job market. So we have to prepare them. We have to give them choices. We advise them, let them also figure it out too. But just really point out, try to avoid the bad stuff as much as possible. So, but that's all I got.
I want to just say, in retrospect, I'm really grateful how my father always encouraged me to find something to sell. I have to tell you, when I grew up, there were long gas lines, and I was out selling refreshments and candy bars to people in the line, and then I bought enough to get a little change maker you clip on your belt. I'm remembering this now, So imagine me, the lines weren't moving. It's pretty safe. You can move off the curve, sell, and get back on the curve. But today you might have to be a little more cautious. But there's certainly fond memories that helped me in my career to have that experience of being grounded in the real world, of earning the trust of somebody so they'll buy, and ultimately earning them the trust of you so they'll buy. And that's, to me, a core lesson I'd want any young person to have today. So excellent, Greg. Great to have you on the show with us together. This is Martin Brossman and
Greg Hyer, and you've been watching Linking into Sales, using social media to support the sales cycle.
Sounds good.